Anyway, as I wasted 8 minutes of our time,
It's fine. It's pretty awesome that you
we
could do
got
that.
news to break.
We do have news, Gavin. We have pretty
break.
dope Half-Life news. Half-Life Alyx was announced. How do you feel about just overall? Did you watch the trailer?
Yeah, I did watch the trailer. So here's the
Gotcha.
thing, and I love to be proven wrong because I thought this was going to be a hot pile of garbage.
Really? What a part of announcement of a new Half-Life did you think hot pile of garbage?
Motherfucker, when's the last time they've been putting out some hot shit?
That's true.
When's the last time they put out a hot interactive piece of first person? And then I watched this. I'm like, oh, they do remember how to make this. They really do. Like the scene where she's healing and having a gunfight.
Yeah.
Fucking perfect.
Yep. Or she loads with that like shotgun pistol kind of thing. She has to push all the debris on the shelf around, grab the actual bullet, load it in, and shoot the combine guy.
And I think something they do here is these graphics, while fantastic, absolutely
this
fantastic.
looks like a next gen title to me. Yeah.
This is doable on a VR headset. This is not out of the realm of possibility. You could have a solid range. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of Rage 1 when I look at these.
I could see that with the focus on like the way how close you are to characters.
The humor's back. And I fucking love that. You gotta have some of the humor.
So we're looking at the trailer now. The character, the Kiwi that's talking to you is Rise Darby. He's from Flight of the Conchords.
Is it actually him?
So they confirmed it's him.
It sounds like a Flight of the Conchords.
And he's definitely going to add the humor, and it looks like he's kind of leading you along at least for part of the game. But
now that's just got me thinking of Hardcore Henry, where you got the.
I didn't watch it.
He wasn't a Kiwi. He was a South African, and he has like 8 different characters he plays throughout the entire movie.
Oh, you're right. He's from District 9, right?
Yeah, the District 9
No,
guy.
he's awesome. Yeah, you're right.
And it's so funny. So that's immediately what
gotcha.
that reminds me.
Yeah, so this is a scene where you're shooting. And what do you think about with Half-Life games? You always play a silent protagonist. What do you think about your character being the voice? Is there any change to that? Is there any issue with that? Like with you being Alyx and she's very vocal, very opinionated.
I don't know in the first person. I've definitely I think I mentioned this a while back, not very many podcasts ago, but I listened to this GDC talk about how Gordon Freeman is a terrible character because he has no character.
Yeah.
And
he's told what to do, and he's very kind of
right. And Alyx actually has a character, and I don't think it would necessarily break immersion for her to talk.
And they can choose when she talks. So if it's a particularly like a creepy area, she just, or she vocalizes in a way that makes you scared as well. Like it does work. I just wondered if there's anything that like they have to change for that kind of thing.
I think you just have to play test it. Like there have definitely been first person games where the first person, where the character talks and it's fine. And I think the best example for me is The Darkness, where you're confined. You like the whole game you're basically a god, and then at one moment you're suddenly not. And your character is yelling. You as a player are standing at, like, I know multiple people that have stood up and yelled at their TV, including me, because they're like, no, this is not how this scene plays out.
But they like pulled your strings the right way where they got that response out of you.
Right. They absolutely did. So this first person voiced character, it can totally work. You just have to play it right. I think you probably have to put a certain filter on the voice to make it really sound like it's resonating from your own skull.
Oh, sure.
But
there were some things that were interesting. So this is a VR title, right? So this is not just on the Valve Index, which I was kind of
everything. I was shocked,
and that's their commitment that it can run. Is it going to look like this? No, I feel like this is like the best PC, and the Valve Index is the footage we're seeing. But
it's
definitely
the fingers for sure.
That's
the
true.
Valve Index.
Because the Index has so many different like not inputs, but like just ability to sense different techniques, right? So there's that. Now this is a full-fledged release, so it's a $60 title. It's on sale right now on Steam for like 10% off.
And you get it for free if you buy the Index.
That's pretty interesting. I think that's a big deal. So already, it's pretty crazy that you have to have a PC and a Valve Index.
$60 off a must-have title.
This is their flagship. This is their killer app. If you're thinking if this is a console release, they don't just throw in Halo 6 just willy-nilly. Like that's pretty big.
So this is something. I wonder if I'm misremembering. Is her dad? So we're seeing on screen the dad between the 5 displays. Is that the same guy that I don't remember the plot well enough.
Mhm.
That helps you out
He does.
in Half-Life 2.
He
Did
does.
they lighten up his skin?
Well, the thing is, I think this is a younger portrayal because it happens in between 1 and 2. So I think that's why he does look different.
He
And
does look
I think it's because
different,
he's younger is what they're doing.
But I remember his skin being darker. Maybe I'm misremembering.
I think with them younganizing, I was gonna say with them making him younger, they just took liberties also with changing his character. I assume it's the same voice actor too, so maybe that's
right.
also why. As far as speaking about,
I like his as far as being younger. I like his outfit. That speaks younger.
It's
That's
very
not this
hipsterish.
guy that's been still got the hat. Or no, I don't think he had the hat.
He might have, but he sounds visual or audio wise, he sounds like the same character. That's how I know it's him. But otherwise, it does look different. But you have to assume it's just a younger. That's also why they got. So it's not the same character that's voiced Alyx in the previous games. They went with a different. Yeah, so it's a different character because this portrayal is a younger version of Alyx. So how much younger, I'm not sure, but enough to where they got a different actor.
It is interesting that this is. Not going for realism. Like this character, you look at the dad, he's very much.
Now you know what? So
and that's cool. I'm super down for that. I love like the way they did that in the what are those stealth games that kind of had that?
Oh, Dishonored. That kind of
Dishonored
style.
games.
Yeah.
Like I like the stylization.
Right. You know what that reminds me of? So the devs that are working on the story are the Campo Santo guys. And they kind of had a more
the
cartoony.
Campo Santo guys?
Yeah, do you remember them putting out Firewatch? It was that story base where you're walking around.
The devs they're working on.
Well, they do this. They're doing the story for this game.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So as far as just like with that kind of stylized cartoony aspect, I feel like that's where I see them overlap. But also they're doing the story with this too. There was drama with not drama, but like so the game that they showed off. I want to say 2 Game Awards ago was. An Egypt-based
right,
not Scientology.
And that came out, didn't it?
No, so they announced it. They went quiet. That game page wasn't deleted, but all the videos were taken off after Valve acquired them. So people were wondering, okay, is that project alive still? And then once the trailer dropped, they announced that they're working on this instead. So I don't know if that project is fully dead, but now they're working on this till it's done, and then we'll see what happens with that.
I mean, I'd trust somebody like again. I haven't played Firewatch, but I hear it's phenomenal.
It was cool. I liked it a lot.
And like it tugs on those emotional strings. Like
right,
I want those people. We're in this weird state where, oddly enough, the linear game is struggling. Like people want all these branching paths.
That's true.
But the linear game is perfectly fine. You look at like how much do you love
Last of Us?
Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't let this art form die. So we need these proper writers that can handle that. And I think they can handle that.
And these are the guys for sure. I
doubt Firewatch really branched that much depending on which option you chose.
There were choices, but I think you end up at the same place. But there's a lot of dialogue options and kind of giving you the sense that you are creating your own version of the character, but you end up getting at the same point in the game.
Right.
But yeah, they're tackling the story. I think I love the idea of having smaller teams that do something awesome and then go, all right, deal with this. And like a huge property. I love to see them like just rise up to the challenge and with their creative ability already.
Well, which is crazy because people mention that with like, so Nintendo, people would make Nintendo fan games, like some of the Samus Metroid 2, right? That was a Game Boy game that was garbage.
Gotcha.
So people made like, I think there were 1 or 2 different fan remakes of it. And then Nintendo did their own, but they did these takedown things for the original.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Sega, people would make Sega or Capcom fan games, and Capcom or Sega would fucking hire them to make it.
That's what you should do. That should be standard.
Right, like Street Fighter X Mega Man, that was a fan game.
Oh, you're right.
And they're like, yeah, okay, you're hired.
Yeah. So I pulled up some various tidbits. So we mentioned it's $60 full price game. The team over at Valve working on this is 50 people. So it's the largest largest group of people working on a game at one point in Valve's history.
Over 50 is the largest group?
Apparently on one sole game because it might be more like compartmentalized. But Campo Santo's on there after they acquired him. It's running on Valve Source 2 engine. So this is still on the Source 2, which is Half-Life 2 was on Source 2, right? Mm-hmm. Which is amazing to see what they're pulling out with that, especially for VR. But I mean, it's a modular engine. There's reasons they're able to upgrade this engine. Gotcha.
So it could be Valve 2 up into 2030.
Gotcha. That's awesome. That shows that you can just keep adding things onto it. So we have a release date of March 2020, which is super duper soon for them to be like, hey, this is the thing, and it's coming out soon. I love when they drop news like that. Now this is various quotes. So these are quotes from Jeff Keighley. He has, which is pretty dope. So right when the trailer dropped, he tweeted, "Hey, I've known about this for 5 years. I'm making a documentary about this. So
Oh shit!
suck on that." Yeah. There's a 20-minute dev interview with the team,
God.
just kind of just lightly going into some of the issues. But he's announcing that over the next couple of months, he's going to release these longer interviews where they talk about it's not just about Half-Life Alyx, but it's like what has Valve been doing, and are they aware of the criticisms and the issues with going back into Half-Life? How do they go over that hype? How do they go back to it?
God, that just gives him so much clout and so much, because in a world where leaks are prevalent, the fact that it's not just him, it's his team,
right?
And they didn't leak this, they're gonna get so much.
You can
more.
trust him for sure,
right? They're gonna get this all over the board,
right?
So that's a huge fucking deal.
I didn't realize this, but apparently Jeff has a history with Valve. So he did a dev diary on Half-Life 2 and on Half-Life 1. So he's been down that road before, and so they brought him back to cover the footage. But yes, for years he's been able to play it. He said he's played the game in depth as well. So here's another quote from Jeff. So this is a tweet. "I've played through Half-Life Alyx. It took me over 15 hours and seen it multiple stages of development. This is a full-blown Half-Life experience with a rich, vibrant world, immersive combat, great storytelling, and innovative game design." So I mean,
we have no reason to disbelieve him.
No, I mean he's the man. Like that's pretty awesome. I feel like he's a really good unbiased. Although there's drama with the whole Game Awards and Kojima getting so many awards. To summarize Half-Life Alyx, I mean I'm super stoked. I'm bummed that I can't play this game, and I probably won't ever be able to play this game unless they do some kind of PSVR.
You can actually play it without the headset. You can have the controllers apparently.
Okay,
which is weird.
Gotcha.
I don't know how that's gonna.
I don't know how that works, but I'm glad because this shows me that they're not, they haven't forgotten about Half-Life, and if this is successful or at least critically goes well over, they're going to go back to that world. I mean, that's what everyone wants. So support this regardless.
Like,
I think so.
When have they ever paid attention until like Epic came along? When have they ever had to pay attention to?
But think about this game has been developed for a while. So even before the next thing to flex against them being Epic, they've had an intention to come back to this world because they've been developing this. That's a good point. We don't really have a lot to go off of with Valve because they haven't been putting out games, but you should watch that thing. It's great with Jeff. He talks to the team. It's like 20 minutes. He brings up those questions like why everyone assumes you guys are just sitting back counting your money. Like why go back to this, especially the most problematic game to try and like do something else on.
The expectations are through the roof.
Right. And so they talk in depth about, that's why they went this VR route and following a different character. It gives them like a buffer so that they can blow everyone out of the water with this experience and then go, okay, we're doing Half-Life 3. They need a buffer to not just go into Half-Life 3.
Can you imagine if this does blow everyone out of the water? Like, what do we?
I think it will. I have no intention to believe that it's not gonna. It looks like they know the expectation and the weight is on them to produce something good, so they have to do it.
Right, but that raises the bar even fucking
That's true.
further.
But I mean, they didn't get in the game to not deal with bars that are way higher than they can achieve. They do it every time.